Hey, how's it going, everyone? Hope you're having a good day or night, wherever you are. So, this is gonna be a bit of a different video. Um, it's not really gonna be on boxing, and that's mainly because, there's just really nothing to talk about in the boxing world right now. I mean, I already talked about Usyk and Chisora. I already talked about White and Povetkin, the rematch. I already talked about Ryan Garcia and who is it? Luke Campbell, right? So there's nothing to talk about. I mean, I guess there's Teofimo Lopez and Vasyl Lomachenko, but I mean, let's be honest, we all know how that fight's gonna play out, right? I mean, look, you want a prediction? Vasyl Lomachenko 7th round knockout. That's my prediction. But other than that, there's nothing's happening really. I mean, there's there's fights being made with Tank Davis and all those other people, but the thing is, I really don't care, right? If it's not the heavyweight division, I just don't really care. I mean, the only reason I made the Lomachenko and Campbell video is because I'm a fan of Luke Campbell, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I've decided to do something different with this video. I decided to switch to UFC. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest expert in UFC. I'm more of a. Oh, I'm not even an expert in boxing, but I see things how or I say things how I see it. But I have more experience in boxing, right? UFC, I don't know much about jiu-jitsu. I know a bit about wrestling. I don't know much about how to taekwondo or kickboxing, but regardless, I'm still a fan of it. So, I mean, yeah, and there's this one fight that's getting made, or that's potentially getting made, I should say, and that's a fight between Jon Jones and Israel Adesanya. So, this fight, the reason this fight is getting made because Adesanya, he beat Paulo Costa, right? I saw that coming. I didn't think it would go that fast. I didn't think Adesanya would knock him out in the second round. I thought it was going to be a third round, but, I thought it was going to be at least competitive. I thought Paulo Costa was going to rush forward, and he was going to, at least land some shots, right? And, I thought it was going to be a case in the third round where Adesanya, it's a bit of back and forth, but in the end, Adesanya, his timing's just going to beat Paulo Costa, and yeah, he's going to knock him out. However, I was wrong. Paulo Costa didn't do nothing, and I don't want to disrespect him, but that's just how it is. I mean, Paulo Costa, he was really doing anything. He was showboating the entire fight, and that was pretty much it. He wasn't engaging at all. He was not respecting Adesanya's power or his fighting style. What else? He just wasn't. I don't know. He wasn't in it. He wasn't in the fight. But now that fight is over. Jon Jones and Adesanya, they've been going back and forth on Twitter. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought it'd be good. I think this is a good fight, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. So, I don't think this fight is going to be made next for either one of these guys, because, Jon Jones, he's training for heavyweights at this moment. He's training for, I don't know if it's Ngannou or Stipe, but he's going to train for someone, I mean, who knows? It could even be Alistair Overeem, right? And Adesanya, he's called out, I won't say the guy's last name, but Jared, I don't know how to say his last name, but the guy that Adesanya called out, right? And there's been talks of Adesanya fighting Darren Till as well, and I don't think this fight is gonna happen next. It's not gonna be Jon Jones won't be Adesanya's next fight, and Adesanya won't be Jon Jones's next fight. But I thought it'd still be interesting to talk about. So, Adesanya and Jon Jones, I think if I said this to their face, they would probably hate it. But I mean, they're not that different, right? They're not. They're kind of similar, you know. I mean, they're both dominant, very dominant in their divisions. Adesanya, he hasn't lost a fight yet in his division, and John Jones, he did lose a fight, but that was by disqualification. It wasn't a legitimate loss, you know. And I mean, I felt like that should have just been a no contest or something. I thought, it was, I think, the Mark Hamill fight. I think, can't really remember, but yeah, and a lot of people argue that John Jones, he lost his last fight to Dominic Reyes. Me personally, so I had Reyes winning that fight, but I don't think it was a robbery. I thought it was a situation where Dominic Reyes, he won the first 2 rounds convincingly. John Jones, he won the last 2 rounds convincingly. And the the third round was the deciding round for the fight. And I did give that round to Reyes, but it was a very close round, so I wasn't too upset when they said, "Oh, okay, John Jones won." Right? I mean, that one judge that had it 4-1, that was ridiculous, But yeah. So, and you could argue that there was the knockdown in the first, but I didn't, or the alleged knockdown, but I didn't. It's kind of difficult to judge a knockdown in the UFC because these guys, they kick, they have different stance in boxing. In boxing, as soon as someone gets knocked down, it's a 10-8, right? Doesn't matter how the knockdown looks, it's just still a 10-8. But in UFC, it's different because they kick, they wrestle, all that stuff. So that might have been more, it was I don't know, like a half knockdown, if you want to call it that, in my opinion. So, yeah, but, just John Jones, he still won it. It's just one of those things, It wasn't his best performance, but he still won it regardless. Israel Adesanya, on the other hand, he's been knocking his opponents out. He had that one tough fight against Kevin Gastelum. He knocked out Robert Whittaker. He with Yoel Romero, he had a very boring fight. Yeah, that fight was it was the last fight that we got to see before the world went into lockdown this year. But or that was where there were crowds and all that stuff. And yeah, it wasn't the best fight to end on. But yeah, so but obviously, a lot of people thought Romero won that fight regardless, but a lot of people thought Adesanya won that fight. I didn't score it. I'll be honest, I just didn't score it. I just thought it was just a very boring fight. I thought it was terrible. I mean, Adesanya, he was leg kicking a lot of the time, and Romero was kind of standing there and waiting for Adesanya to come into his range, because he's a counterpuncher, and didn't make for the best fight, After that fight, I kind of wish Adesanya just would admit that he was a bit cautious, trying to, not rush Yoel Romero, but engage. But instead, he was just saying, "Oh yeah, it was a dominant win for me." I mean, I don't know. I didn't like that fight. But anyway, the next fight, Adesanya, he really beat up Paulo Costa, and yeah, now we got this potential fight getting made. So I don't know. If you want to talk about who would win in a kickboxing match between these guys, that's a different story. I think Adesanya may have the advantage in that. But the fact that this is MMA, and John Jones has been doing this for longer, yeah, Adesanya's had something like, over 100 kickboxing fights or something like that. But, this is MMA, this is a bit different. So, yeah, if we're going to talk about who's the better boxer, at the moment, it does look like Adesanya. But, excuse me. But, in terms of all-around complete fighter, I'd give that to John Jones. John Jones, he has wrestling, he has jiu-jitsu, and he has boxing, maybe not as good as or I'll say striking because it's UFC. He has striking, maybe not as good as Adesanya's, but he still has good striking. Also, I think one advantage for Jon Jones is his. I don't. It's hard to base this because they're both tough guys, but I think Jon Jones he's a guy who he finds a way to win. In the Reyes fight, he forced the win by getting those takedowns and forcing the fight in the final 2 rounds. I mean that's the championship mindset, and you could say the same thing about Adesanya, with the Gastelum fight. But, I think Jon Jones has gone through more adversity, so I'll give that to him. I'll give the chin to him as well. Yeah. So, in terms of who I think's going to win, I think Jon Jones will do it. I mean, I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of either of these guys. I'm not a fan of Adesanya. I'm not a fan of Jon Jones. I don't really care about any of these guys. If they were just like fighting some other guy, I wouldn't care. But I just think it's a interesting matchup stylistically. So, but I mean, in terms of who I think's gonna win, I think Jon Jones. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a situation where Jon Jones is actually gonna be able to strike with Adesanya, and he may go to the distance. I don't think he'll knock Adesanya out just by striking. But, it might be a situation where he might be able to go the distance with Adesanya. Or I think it's going to what's going to happen is Adesanya's striking is going to be too much for Jones, and Jon Jones is going to take him down, ground and pound him there, and, force a TKO or submission. And that's how I see it going. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, I don't know where they're going to fight, I don't know what weight class they're going to fight at. The light heavyweight seems the best option. It doesn't make sense for them to fight at heavyweight. Yeah, same with middleweight. I don't know. I mean, Adesanya is saying, oh, come to middleweight. But the thing with that is, Adesanya, he called out Jon Jones first, right? So if you want to fight Jon Jones, you have to go up to, you're going to have to go up to his weight, right? Obviously not heavyweight, but, light heavyweight. But, yeah, I don't know. I got Jon Jones, second round stoppage, I'd say, by ground and pound. And, yeah. In terms of who I want to win, there's no one I really want to win. I mean, both guys I'm not really a fan of, like I said. Maybe I want Jon Jones to win a bit more just because Adesanya, from what I've seen in his recent interviews and stuff, he looks like he's not that, humble or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying he should be, I'm just saying, but I mean, just not what I like to see really in fighters where they, don't respect the sport in that sort of way. So, I mean, I'm not just saying Jon Jones is innocent, but just from what I've seen from Adesanya recently, it's not a good look. So, I don't know. That's his character, though, but whatever. I mean, I think Jon Jones will win anyway. But we'll just have to wait to see. We'll have to see what weight class this will be, this will, happen at, right? And, yeah, we're just going to have to see if Adesanya's, any good at light heavy. But, yeah, anyway, that's going to do it for this video. This video's been going on for a while now. So, yeah, anyway, let me know who you guys think's going to win in this fight. And what round, and, yeah, let me know what weight class you think this will happen at. Because, it doesn't look like there's actual... I mean, they're not really talking about what weight class they're going to fight at. But, yeah, anyway, that's just going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good night, and take care.